All right. What's up, everybody? Happy, beautiful Thursday. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Entrepreneur Hot Seat. We are live and we're so excited to have all of you here joining us. We have such an amazing program today that I just can't wait to get this started. So let's just get started with introductions. We've got our panelists here, and thank you so much, everyone who's joining us as guests, as attendees. Today is going to be a great day to talk about some of the things I think we are looking forward to solve, because there are many businesses who might be in a similar situation that our business that we're focusing on today. So real quick, I'm Addison. I'm the president of the Rice Street Business Association. We put this together through the business development grant that we received through the County of Kauai. So shout out to the Office Economic Development for allowing us to come up with this idea and then hire our most awesome person, Bria Greer, who is the host of or co-host of this event, to put this on and try to help all of our local businesses here on Kauai. So thank you, County of Kauai, for partnering with us for this. It is our fourth Entrepreneur Hot Seat and our final for the year. We have been doing this since the beginning of 2020, right before COVID hit. And we've really learned that it became one of the key staple events throughout COVID that is helping our local businesses going. So I want to first pass it over to Bria to introduce herself as our co-host. She's going to be taking over in the part where we get and dive deep with our entrepreneurs. So do you mind introducing yourself, Bria?
Hi, everyone. I'm Bria Greer, and I'm the creative director of Brialei, LLC. I create collaborative spaces like this one. And I also head up Lady Entrepreneurs and Innovators of Kauai, just a community organization to connect for innovation and creativity. So I'm stoked to be here. I love doing this, and it's an honor to be part of this with the Rice Street Business Association.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bria. Bria is going to put a form or a link in the chat box shortly. We're going to ask all of our attendees, if you would like to provide us some feedback, we would love it. If you fill out the form and submit that, and you own a business, we are going to send you free Facebook ads up to $30, so you can utilize that for your business. So if you get a chance, please fill that out at some point. Either before or after this event. The link won't expire. All right, well, I'm gonna, for the interest of time, I'm gonna introduce all of our panelists. So we're just gonna go down the line here. We got Tyler here from PacBuild. He's a founding partner and founding owner. It's a high-end construction company, currently serving as the chair of the Cost Control Commission for the County of Kauai. We have Kristal with Kauai Juice Company and Bone to Be Wild. Her passion lies in creating products, manufacturing, and the health industry. We have Tessa, owner of Fablefox Marketing. She is the digital marketing specialist helping small businesses and nonprofits engage with their target audience. We have Chenoa. Chenoa is a venture accelerator and part of an angel investment group. She's the manager of one, and she's also a venture fund partner and a startup advisor. She's interested in strengthening the entrepreneurial ecosystem in Hawaii, and she has a particular passion for scalable startups with an environmental or social mission. And we have Keiko. Keiko is the owner and operator of, and the occasional chef. You should actually go check out her on Saturdays. I think she does her brunches then at Japanese Grandma's Cafe in Hanapepe. She's also the curator of Blue Umi. Her passion lies in sharing her enthusiasm for authentic food and culinary experiences she has had over the extent of her travels. So without further ado, we are here for our entrepreneur, and our entrepreneur is PJ. Hey, PJ. Yes. Yeah. PJ is the owner of Eat Healthy. Yeah. And he's passionate about ethical eating in order to save as many animals as possible. He's originally from Japan with a background in men's apparel and design. He purchased Eat Healthy in 2017. His goal is to help people understand that vegan food can taste great, and it absolutely does. For the record, that's the place I go to when it was open every Wednesdays, thanks to Daphne that was there. I would always get the same stuff because it's always good. Sorry, I'm kind of like going sidetrack because I love his food. His goal is to help people understand the vegan food can taste great, be good for the body, and save lives, the lives of animals. So, PJ, I'm gonna turn it over to you. There
Okay.
is a specific challenge that you wanted us to focus on through the panelists, and so I'm going to let you kind of talk a little bit about it and expand on it. I know it's you're looking towards attracting a new client base, so if you want to share with the panelists and all our attendees the challenge that you want us to focus on.
Okay. So I would say my biggest challenge, which I wasn't even realizing as my challenge prior to COVID, was that my customer base, when I took over the business, I would say it was 80 to 20%, 80% being tourists, 20% being local. After I took it over, I adjusted the menu a little bit. I changed a little bit of a mood per se of the restaurants. So I was starting to gain a little bit more of a local customers. I would say right before COVID, maybe I was up to, I'm not sure, like 60-40, 60 being tourist. But it was still like too little to survive through COVID period. And that was kind of like a harsh reality check for me. Um, One thing is that I mean, if you're vegan in Kauai, most likely you know us. You've been to my restaurant before. You like our food, you come to my place all the time. But as everyone knows, vegan in this country, maybe it's up to 2% now, maybe even less. It's definitely a lot less in Kauai. So for me to run a 100% vegan restaurant in Kauai, I need to be able to reach out to non-vegans. And that is my biggest challenge because non-vegans will say, oh, vegan food is not going to taste good, so I'm not going to even try it. So they don't even come to us to try anything. They might have tried smoothies and bowls. We have acai bowls and stuff. But when it comes to food, they will say, well, don't vegans eat salad only? Like, and everything is going to taste cardboard. That is not true at all. It depends on who makes it. But we have good vegan food. So, but then unless you come to the restaurant and try it, you would never know. You just see us as a vegan restaurant and that's it. So I want to pick your brain as to how I can reach out to those people who hasn't been to my restaurant and tried food yet. What can we do?
Fantastic. What a difficult challenge, even in the middle of booming economy. I'm sure that was still difficult. And now with what's going on, I'm sure that has been amplified. So I'm going to give our panelists just a few moments to collect their thoughts and ideas. We're going to go through a process to allow our panelists to go to several thought processes to help PJ. The first part that we're going to ask our panelists is to clarify the question that PJ is asking. So yeah, I want the panelists at first to just kind of clarify your understanding of what PJ is asking help for. And I'm going to go from panelist to panelist. I'll call you guys all by name and we'll give you some time. And I just want you to focus on clarifying the question because after we're going to give you some time to focus on that challenge and explore some ideas and what PJ can do. So I am observing and it looks like a few people are ready. So I'm just going to jump in here and say, Tessa, looks like you're ready to fire. So let's turn it over to Tessa.
Ooh, I'm glad I get to go first. I don't know what I did to like say me, but so my clarifying question, PJ, is it sounds like you are currently, when you were open pre-COVID, we're serving mostly a local audience. Moving into the future and sort of this coexistence with COVID and then hopefully moving beyond it, are you hoping to serve more local people or do you want to bring in those visitor numbers again, or is there one audience over the other that you would prefer?
You know what, I would say both, but then put more focus on local customers is definitely my priority right now, especially right now. But because now we all realizing that we can't always rely on tourism. So I would hate for any of us to go through this again in the future. So yes, I would like to gain more local non-vegan customers.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let's go to Kristal.
Awesome. I'm so excited to talk to you, PJ. First of all, congratulations. Since you took it over, the food has been so good. You've done such a great job. And so awesome that you got your local clientele up to 60%. I can say we operate at like 70% locals. And if you just probably would have had another year or 6 months, like I think that difference, because we operate at 70%, we've been able to stay open and kind of just slide by. So I think you were really close, and I think you're going in the right direction. My clarifying question is, what marketing have you used in the past, and exactly what are you most curious in targeting, or what type of marketing feature do you want to invest your time in the future?
Okay, so I'm going to be straight up with you. I'm not good with marketing and PR at all. So really the only thing that I have been doing is social media. But when I say social media, I'm not doing anything other than posting pictures of food. That's all I have been doing. And then when there's a comment, I'll make sure that I respond to it. But have I looked into, say, getting into placing an ad or boosting things on Facebook? I don't even know what that means. Sometimes I get like a bunch of the same ads on Facebook, and I don't even know why I'm getting those ads. And then I know sometimes you can pick and choose like the location, age range, and that kind of stuff to reach out to different audience, right? But I have never seen local businesses on Facebook. So I'm not sure if that's going to be effective for me.
Is there any, instead of thinking of it as what you think might work, is there any marketing strategies that you've seen that you know that you want to dive into, that you're like, I want to invest some time into this because you feel like it would work for your business? Or are you starting point blank and just social media is what you've been doing?
Social media is the only thing that I have done. Do I have any ideas that I wanted to get into? Kind of, sort of, no, not really. I thought about doing the radio commercial because I do hear it at the restaurant. Let's say Bangkok lava roll. That's one thing that I always chuckle when I hear it, for the obvious reason. Yeah. But I don't even know who offers that Bangkok lava roll. So it's kind of like a jingle for the commercial. Like you hear it, you know the song, but you're not really paying attention to the commercial itself. So I do think about doing the radio, but I'm not really sure if it's as effective. And to be honest, I don't even know what else I can do other than doing some collaborations with other businesses, doing pop-ups. Say Molly from Malisadas, she had a tent at my restaurant and did the collabo that way. Or let's say if I can turn my retail shop into a coffee shop and bring in a coffee person or like established business there, then we can kind of like bring in his customers while his customer can enjoy my food. So that kind of PR marketing, I'm more interested in doing. Because at the other end of marketing, I have no idea what to do.
Awesome, thanks.
I like where we're going. We're diving deep. I'm gonna bring it to Chenoa if you have any clarifying questions for PJ.
I really don't. I think it's pretty clear. I guess the way I would kind of rephrase the issue is just that, he's looking to grow market share. That's how we would say it. And it's, easy to say, hard to do. But that sounds like the goal to me.
Perfect. Let's go to Keiko.
PJ, so my question would be, I understand, I think I may have heard this incorrectly. I thought you said you had 60% tourists and 40% local. Is that clear?
That is
yes,
accurate,
so that was the other way around. And then my question is, I'm an owner-operator and obviously have great staff that makes great food, but I have food passions. And so I've been doing special menus during this time of COVID that really, brings forward a sense of community. So right now I'm doing Japanese street food. So my clarifying question to you is, I understand that you know that a vegan audience is quite limited. You mentioned 2% in the US and maybe smaller on the island of Kauai. If you had your choice, what food would you like to serve?
Food that's still within the vegan food?
No, I think it's, have you been closed since March?
No, I actually was able to reopen in May because I got the PPP loan. So I was able to run it from May through September.
And then you're currently closed now.
It closed a month ago.
So I would say the question would be, if you could cook any food, including or not including vegan food, what would you like to serve? Where is your passion in the food?
Okay, so my passion would be definitely vegan food. For me to serve non-vegan items would be against my personal belief. I was talking to someone and then he said, why don't you introduce eggs and become vegetarian restaurant so you can have breakfast and you can at least capture customers that way. But while this is a business that I'm making money, I would like to make money off of, the reason why I became vegan and the reason why I have the vegan restaurant is because of what I believe, which is not to harm animals in any way possible. So even if it's eggs, unless chicken will bring it to me and say, you know what, here's my egg, I want you to have it verbally. Me taking it would be an exploitation of an animal. So I will stay, no matter how hard the business gets, I will stay true to my belief and I will stay in the vegan world. That being said, my passion is comfort food. So I'm slowly but surely introducing more of a comfort food made vegan. So a lot of the items that I have, because I grew up in Japan, are served with rice because that's what I want to eat. Like I'm not into fancy or hoity-toity vegan food. I want something more substantial, tastes good and comforting and satisfying. So that's where my passion is.
So my next question, I'm sorry, can I ask one more question, one more clarifying?
Sure, go ahead, Keiko.
Yeah, so I understand. So is there anything that you feel you could do with the name of your business or some kind of, like you said, maybe a slogan that you hear that connotes that feeling of comfort food, not just a vegetarian, like when I think vegan, I'm thinking a particular type of vegan, but it sounds like you have a specialized thing that you'd like to introduce. So would you feel comfortable coming up with a slogan?
That's a good question. I have never thought about it, but one thing that I did think about, I don't know if it's too premature for me to mention this during this session, but the name Eat Healthy, to me, it could sound a little condescending. If you're not eating healthy and if you're feeling guilty about it, you might not want to go to the restaurant that says Eat Healthy. And also, as you can see, that's not my aim. My aim is to serve comfort food that is vegan and save animals. So I am in the process of slightly rebranding. So the slogan will come in handy when I do so. So in the future, in the very near future, it's going to be called something else and probably have a small bite Eat Healthy just to kind of have the momentum of Eat Healthy going. But my goal is to eventually 100% walk away from the name Eat Healthy.
Thank you.
I like where we're going here. I'm gonna pass it over to Tyler, our last panelist, with any clarifying questions, and then we're gonna move into our next part of helping PJ.
I think everyone.
You froze.
Of course, Tyler would freeze right on the moment that we have him talk.
Done.
And he's back.
Do I,
All right, Tyler.
do I need to say it again? It's saying
Yeah.
unstable internet, so I apologize. It might be on my side. My question would be, are you known? Did I freeze again? I think I might have.
No, you're good.
Okay, sorry, the sound changed. Do you think you're known for healthy food, which is in your name, or do you think you're known for vegan food?
I don't know, because sometimes customers do come in and order my scrambled burrito, and then they'll be upset and say like, I didn't want eggs. And I'm like, that wasn't eggs, that was tofu. So some people do come in without knowing that it's a vegan restaurant, eat the food, and then still leave happy. Or like if you come in and have smoothies and bowls, you may never know that we actually have vegan food. And also like outside of the restaurant, it does not say vegan anywhere for a reason. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, sure does.
Perfect. I love where all our thoughts are going. I'm going to now hand this over to Bria as we get into the next part. I want to just add, I love the thought process of where we're going. I think between the panelists that we have here, PJ, you're going to get a lot of insight in these next 36 minutes. So here you go, Bria. Take it over.
Thank you, Addison. Okay, so this is where we get to dive into a little more exploration in the discovery process. And this is where, the questions were great. I think what definitely Chenoa of just saying, we're going to really look at expanding market share, and then looking at some different ways of how PJ, your restaurant, is known, and then what matters most to you. It helps us dive into like, what are the options here, and where is there flexibility to explore, and what things are set in stone. So this next part, we're going to focus in on looking kind of like into the different sides of your business. And I'll go ahead, again, like Addison did, call on each panelist, and we'll begin to kind of dive deeper. So with that, let's see, we're going to start with, how about Chenoa? How about we start with you? Some ideas or questions, areas of the business that you want to either ask questions or present PJ with.
Yeah, well, I think he kind of alluded to it, because I guess what I am thinking about is the difference between vegan and healthy, and do you need to be presenting yourself as vegan, or can you kind of rebrand a little bit more around the healthy messaging? I don't think like your concern about the kind of perception of healthy. I guess I don't think that I would have that same concern in terms of marketing the restaurant that way necessarily. I don't think it's perceived as a negative, especially right now in current culture. I think people are really interested in healthy. And I do agree, vegan can be a little tough for people to swallow, right? They have a certain perception of vegan, but we don't necessarily have that same perception of healthy. So, I'll often eat something that I didn't know was vegan, and then I find out it's vegan and I go, wow, that was amazing. It was so delicious. I'm so surprised. And I think that would be great to kind of, inspire your customer with the surprise of it being vegan and being so delicious. At the same time, I'm thinking of like, what's it called? Holy Grail donuts. You guys, I'm sure, have had this in Hanalei, and they're like delicious regardless, right? And then, wow, vegan, awesome. So, I think you can delight the customer in that kind of surprise way without having to overly market or message the vegan component of it.
Right.
Those are my initial thoughts.
I definitely agree, because sometimes the vegan word can be like the curse word, like the V word. You guys know about the matchaya in a Kapaa town? So they serve soft serve that is vegan, but they don't say vegan because the owner said, when customers come in and when they find out that it's vegan, they make faces and they'll just turn around and leave. But it's still great soft serves, vegan or not. So yeah, that's the reason why I don't really say vegan, because I don't want to rub that in your face.
Yeah, so I think though, I wouldn't be concerned with using the word healthy so much as you expressed a concern about that. I think that's generally perceived positively. And I think now we can assume you can make healthy food taste good. So vegan food, we're not so sure yet, but definitely healthy food, you can make it taste good.
And I just want to, we've got, for anyone in the audience, feel free to ask questions, or you can add stuff in the chat box in here. And Robbie's on here, and she just said she discovered your restaurant in June, PJ, and she thought it was just healthy food. And it was only after a few trips before she realized it was vegan. So real life example. And that just kind of goes back to that same idea. So from there, Kristal, why don't you share a few questions for PJ?
Yeah, right on the same lines. I mean, the main thing I was going to mention was, you know, I went in with my husband right before you guys closed, and it was actually his first time in, and he loved it. And he's, you know, not overall like the healthiest eater. He'll eat whatever's kind of there, fresh and good. But he loved your place. And I can tell you, he's the kind of demographic that you kind of want to market towards. I don't know if you, my second question for the clarifying questions was going to be, what is your demographic that you think? And what it seems to me is kind of, you know, 25 to 45-year-olds, healthy, regular people on island, kind of the same people as Juice Co., kind of the same people as Kalalea Juice Holly. But you have so many more options. So I can tell you though, if I was like, hey, let's check out this vegan place, he'd be like, nah, that's not. But if I was like, let's check out this new comfort healthy place, they serve rice, he'd be like, hell yes, he'd be there in a second. So first of all, rebranding, I think, is so key and so important. And I absolutely think you should do that. I think that should be your main focus right now, personally. And if you have any questions on that, I've done tons of it. I'm more than happy to help if you have any of that. And then rebranding it to something that is true to you, which is comfort food, healthy food, and absolutely not saying vegan in there. And when you have a new brand and you have something new, however you market it, being it exciting, and when people talk about it, have it be a new healthy place and have nothing to do with vegan. And when they come there, it's going to be the experience, and it's going to be that food that me, Robbie, you know, Tyler, all of us have had there. So that's kind of what my opinion is. And yeah, I mean, really the vegan thing can really draw people away, even though it's a really great thing. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on that. And I mean, where do you think you stand with rebranding? And do you have any ideas of names or you know, extensions to the menu?
So yes, the answer is yes. I already got the, I guess I can say, approval of the trade name.
Great.
From the county, so that's good to go. And I have a lot of menu ideas, new menu ideas that kind of goes with the whole new branding idea. I just have to test it out, have people over and have them taste it and see what they think of it. But I have a question. Do you think it's important for me to keep eat healthy somewhere at all, or change it, drop eat healthy altogether? Because customers that know me will come to me regardless of what the name is. So the new name, okay, I'm gonna say it. The new name is Russell's. Russell is my dog's name. And then I don't know if you noticed, but the surfboard with the dog, that's my dog. I drew that. So that's Russell.
Yeah,
so
with Jack Russell, I love it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna continue using that mascot as a restaurant mascot, which is the Eat Healthy mascot.
I love it. I think that's fantastic.
It's Russell's, but then I was going to say Russell's by Eat Healthy, but would that deter new customers from coming in, or would that really not matter because it's such a small part of the logo or the new branding?
I would say, and Tessa, I would love to hear your opinion on this as well, because she knows marketing. If it was me, I personally would drop it all together, because the customers that know you know you, they're going to come back. That establishment has been there vegan for 10, 15 years. So the tourists are going to come back who have been there before. You can market it vegan online or eat healthy online, which is the only reason why you really want to keep buy eat healthy for the old customers. So you can still market that online. But I think with your brand, you should, if you're really wanting to get your local clientele up to 60 to 70%, having something new and fresh, and you don't need that buy eat healthy. And that's just my personal opinion. But Tessa, I mean, what do you think?
I have so many, like my brain is exploding. It's like, it's not fun for me. To answer specifically the branding question, brand, as a marketing person, I would say branding and brand is one of the most widely used and most widely misused words in marketing. And really what we need to boil it down to is identifying the problem or issue and need that your customer has and how you solve it. So that can be as simple as something as, I know my customers want to eat healthy and they want, so then, you know, if that's the need, if that's the biggest need of the audience you need to serve, then keeping something like eat healthy in your name or in a tagline makes sense. The flip side of that coin is I happen to be working with some other food brands right now, and we've done a little bit of research, and there is sort of a wall or a negative sort of, not necessarily negative, but sort of a protective thing around the word vegan that people feel like they have a hard time breaking into. And so what we've discovered in some of the other brands that I'm working with is that there's a much more positive connotation with things like plant-based, 100% plant-powered, you know, things like that. So there's ways to change up the language that you're using and still say the same thing. So I would explore some of that in your marketing and in your branding. But 100%, the thing you have to start with is identifying you know, what needs your audience has, and then what motivates them to solve that problem or to fill that need. And it's usually something that's based off of a feeling or an emotion. So just like you told us, your values are making sure that you are not taking advantage of animals and that you are presenting, you know, plant-based food that's not just good for the body, but good for our environment and any other reasons that you believe deeply in it. It's finding those people who also believe deeply that the food we eat is important and they want to feel good. So that would be my branding sort of 101. And then I just, as you were saying, comfort food, this is maybe just an idea sharing opportunity. But another campaign that I've run with a nonprofit organization that I am working with is, a while back they did, it's National Tropical Botanical Garden, and they have the Breadfruit Institute there. And so several years ago, they were working on a campaign that was potato versus breadfruit. So they were trying to get people to switch out in their diet something like breadfruit for the starchy potato, because breadfruit has a lot more nutrition. So what they did is they had, and we can't exactly do this in the time of Corona, but they kind of had different food events around the island that invited people to try breadfruit, to see it kind of made like potato and made in dishes that are similar to potato, to introduce them that way. So that kind of got me thinking of like what my comfort food is, what would I want to try vegan if I was moving in that direction. And I thought, well, pizza's a great like sort of comfort food leveler as we're moving into restaurants being open, but still this sort of like takeout world of things. Can you put together kits that you make at home so that people can start to see that like making these swaps for vegan food is easy to do? I can still make my favorites. I can learn how to do it from PJ and Russell's, and then start to sort of break into it more easily, maybe than a commitment of like, I'm going to have a full meal and I'm going to bring my family to a vegan restaurant and they're used to eating chicken nuggets and or whatever.
Right.
So that's one idea, but trying to get people to to see that it's not scary. It's not some sort of club. We're not like, you know, you can't sit with us. Anyone can make these food choices and have it be 100% comforting and delicious and just yummy.
Yeah, funny thing that you mentioned, because I would say number one seller for non-vegan customers that I know that for a fact they're not vegans is our burgers.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Beyond Burgers, and we have it in 3 different ways. One is kimchi burger, the other one is teriyaki pineapple burger, and the last one is cheddar cheese bacon burger.
Mm-hmm.
So meat eaters will come to the restaurant and they have burgers, and they're like, oh my gosh, like vegan or not, that was like the best burger that I had on the island. So that's a great compliment. And then those are the guys that I want to get.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like the challenge is for them to come to the restaurant and try it.
I'm going to jump in here.
Yeah.
Before I have to go off on another thing. I just wanted to chime in. I think Chenoa, Kristal, and Tessa are on the same page where PJ, if you could understand a little bit more about that target market that you're going after, I believe I am exactly who you're looking for. You're looking for the 33-year-old who is a professional that is like part-time healthy eating person, like pretends to eat healthy. Like I'll eat healthy 3 days out of the week. Then I'll have like a local mocha on Saturday. And then on Monday, I'll end up at Keiko's place eating a ramen with some sushi. But then on Tuesday, I'll be at your place, you know, eating a Beyond Burger. And I'll be there because I need to justify the reason why I just ate a local moco. But the reason I'm going to you is because I'm going for that Beyond Burger that you just described. And what's happening is that if you understand that target market, because you're trying to increase your market share, right? You're trying to hit those locals. If I believe, if it sounds right to me, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, you're looking for those in-betweeners like me. And that's a big population. And if you're talking about rebranding, which is, I think, the right pursuit that you're looking for, you would want to actually try to do a test run with that group, where you're bringing the idea of Russ's and the idea of comfort food, and us not realizing that we just ate a ramen that was 100% vegan. I could eat that 5 times a week and probably lose weight, and that would blow our minds. And then we would be like, dang, I got to keep going back because I feel guilt-free about this. And therefore, then I'll bring all my local friends and trick them because they think we're going to Russ's to eat a drink of root beer and eat a burger. But in reality, I'm eating the most healthiest food I've ever could have eaten. And now I'm going to come hang out over here because this is Russ's place, right? And so I think if you look at what Kristal is saying and what Tessa is saying, and I think with Chenoa and Tyler and Keiko will jump in just a moment, I think you could be on the right track to creating probably the most successful vegan food restaurant on Kauai. Or I'll say all of Hawaii because that's what I'm shooting for.
I love that, Chenoa, you just put in there flexitarian. Is that a real thing?
That is a real thing. And I've been getting pitched that a lot lately. And then so, like, for example, we were just pitched at Hawai'i Angels by a jerky company called Moku Foods, and they're making beef jerky out of mushrooms, but they're not targeting vegans with this. They're targeting flexitarians because that's the big buzzword of the day right now is the flexitarian, right? So it's a lot of millennials. They want to have choices, a lot of them being healthy choices. But, you know, as Addison said, they're going to kind of go back and forth. They're not going to be strict about it. You know, but that's the kind of the MO. So I think in terms of knowing your customer persona, because we were just talking about that, really important to understand everything about that person that you're going for. And I think that's your probably your biggest bucket right now are those kind of millennial flexitarians. They're open to all kinds of different experiences with food and definitely want to aspire to be healthy, but they're not strict about it, right? Like a vegan. Yeah.
Love it.
That's one thing that vegan communities is being frowned upon is their exclusiveness. Like we are like a tight-knit community where like, oh no, you are wearing the leather belt, so you can't come in here. Like that's the perception that we have looking from outside into the vegan world. Some of them are definitely like that, and then that's a big turnoff. And my goal is definitely not turning everyone into vegan because I know that's not realistic anyway. But even if you were to eat one vegan meal a week, that's a win-win for me and you and everybody else.
Mhm. Yeah. It's like meatless Mondays, right? There was like, for a while, that was a thing, right?
Yeah.
To
Yep.
just do your part.
Right.
I'm going to circle back around real quick to Kristal just to see if she had anything else to add.
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up with the question that you asked me and just make sure I was clear. With keeping the tagline, eat healthy, in general, your brand is your brand. And just remember, you're going to have to be looking at that tagline forever. And so just make sure whatever you choose is truly what you believe and what you love. If you think it sounds condescending, or if you think it doesn't really vibe with your brand, don't feel like you have to put it just because you think in the marketing world, you have to have something that sounds a certain way. At the end of the day, you need to be authentic and do what's best for you. And I mean, look at Kauai Jusco. We've never had a tagline. I've literally tried to pay people, like, give me tagline ideas, and like, it just never felt right. So I was like, we just won't have a tagline. And, you know, we're not out of business because of it. So just remember, it's your business and do what feels the best for you. And that feeling is going to carry over to your customers.
Awesome. Okay, let's see. I was going to jump over to Keiko. Are you able to offer a few questions or insights about either the target audience, a new target audience, how to attract them, or some ideas in that vein of things for PJ?
Yeah, PJ, as far as I can see, you've pretty much nailed it, the age group that you want. But I do have to tell you that, you know, we're in the middle of nowhere. I'm in Hanapepe town. I'm not in Lihui, I'm not in Kapa'a, but we have been able to garner quite a bit of attention from around the island. And what has kept me going, and I'm part of that demographic, is an older demographic. But we have a disposable income, and we're more than willing to go out and drive and eat. So I understand the millennial thinking. I mean, I have a home in Venice Beach, California. I'm in the mecca of millennial and tech environment. I understand that, but I have to tell you that my customers that spend the most consistently are my age. They're probably a little bit older than what you're targeting, so I would not discount that. I haven't had an opportunity to see your logo, but you know, my logo kind of serves as my calling card. I have a little Japanese grandma, and you know, people recognize it. And so if you're taking the time to rebrand, just take a real good look at your brand. I think the tagline of Eat Healthy is good. And like Kristal's done a wonderful job with her place. You know, she's probably the only one open in Poipu, and I go there all the time because I'm so happy she's open. But I do have to tell you that there are special things that you could do. Like you mentioned Kenji Burger. Now, what makes that attractive to you? Is it the fact that it's called Kenji and has some Japanese inspired things? Think about that, because you said you grew up in Japan. People ask us, why did we remain busy? We make a food that people cannot make at home. So even if you are unemployed and maybe you're going to go out one night a week, you're going to choose something that you can't make at home. I know I do, because I'm a pretty good chef. And when I go out, it's like, oh yeah, I want the pressed juice. I'm not going to make that at home. Or I want, you know, JO2. I'm not going to make that at home. So please keep that in mind, because if the menu is too simplified, if money does get tight, people will opt to do that at home. And really, you know, if you have your ethnic roots and you're true to that, then, you know, you could do a shoujin menu. I mean, as much as it's an education to people, through marketing, you could teach them about Japanese vegetarian food. And I think there is a real connotation and a connection with the island, the locals on the island, that Japanese food is healthy. So I would play that up if I were you. So be open.
Okay. So can I say one more thing?
Yes.
You mentioned about shoujin food, because right before COVID thing happened, I had two new ideas that were stemming from Eat Healthy. One was the again, I don't know if it's appropriate for me to say this, but I wanted to have a vegan burger joint called Russell's. So the Russell's idea was always like in my head for a while, but I wanted to focus on just burgers and fries and milkshake, and that's it. And then the second idea that I wanted to do was a Japanese izakaya idea. It's like Japanese tapas, like the little counter. I'll be behind the counter. I'll be the only one who's cooking and serving, and I'll build strong relationship with customers because you come in after work, you sit at the bar. I'll talk to you how your day was, and I'll show you what I have fresh for the day, and I'll make it for you. You don't even have to pay the tab that day. I'll have like a little tab, like, you know what I mean? So that's what I wanted to do as well. So it's interesting that you mentioned Shojin style, which is a Japanese vegan like monk food. So yeah, that would be an interesting
Yeah,
position.
and PJ, we are doing that. We built out our backyard, and we do have a bar in our backyard, and we do have a chef back there making special foods. And so, you know, what we do is we rotate the menu back there. Like, I'm sorry, I'm sitting up. I keep having to move because the restaurant is getting full. We are, tonight is our street food night. So it's comfort, old school, okonomiyaki, yakitori, gyoza, like different types of menus. So you said that you wanted to look at pop-ups and different collaborations.
Right.
I would really, you know, so we do a different menu on special nights. And that would be something that maybe you can do one night a week, 2 nights a week.
Yeah, absolutely.
But really, you know, above all, like people ask me why here, why this food? It's because I picked up the local phone book and I looked, and there were a lot of Japanese last names, but no Japanese restaurant. So I already knew that, you know, if I provided something nostalgic, I'll have a little bit of a base to start with and then grow it from there. So I'm not trying to say that millennials are not important, because they are very important to my retail space. But as far as my restaurant and continued patronage, I'd have to say that it's probably 60-40 millennials. And like I said, you know, I may be older, but I'm out there all the time, and I'm in Venice and I'm in Newport, and, you know, I travel all the time. I go to Tribeca all the time. I eat out all the time. I see this where, you know, the millennials on this island, sure, some have money, but I would say that the people that get the check every month are your retirees. So you want them to feel comfortable too.
So good. I think, yeah, Keiko, you think you bring up a really good point too, that a target audience isn't just an age group either, right? It's more complex. It's more complex than that. And there is definitely a generation out there that needs healthy options and enjoys the restaurant experience of delicious food that, I mean, and even for health reasons too, there's a lot. I mean, I know even my own mom is like going vegan because of, I don't know, her blood pressure or something. And she never has been into that. So I think there's a shift in a lot of ways where there could be this
Believe me.
Right. Target audience really that will spend more and maybe be more consistent.
More consistently.
That's
people
some great,
that'll come in.
Yeah. And you already, you know, it's great that Keiko's got a restaurant down there in Hanapepe, which is always like, I'm like, it's jamming on a weekday down there. And it's amazing the way she's created a destination restaurant down out on the west side, basically. So I love all that input, Keiko. Thank you so much. I'm gonna jump over to Tyler, our last panelist, to just offer input and a few questions on what he's seen.
Well, I'm actually kind of excited to go last because I got to hear everybody else's stuff, which is pretty awesome. And I think everyone hit the mark pretty much on the advertising and where you're trying to go for the image and that stuff. I think I'm going to kind of go more into COVID related stuff and trying to get you open. And I'm going to do a completely different twist. So for me, I kind of always do the modeling technique. Look at what restaurants succeeded through COVID and were able to open. And try to kind of think of your business that way and see the ones around you that are succeeding at this time. This time could last for another year or plus. And I don't know if most businesses could last that long without really adapting to the times that we have now. So with that said, I think a lot of the businesses that are really doing good are businesses that have a very app-friendly menu that you can actually order online and do pickup. Because a lot of people don't want to actually sit in and don't feel comfortable sitting in quite yet, but they do want to get food and good food that's different. So I think I wouldn't open until you actually do a really, really quick marketing ploy and change your name and actually deliver your opening with a whole new image with a menu that is eat in and eat out. So something that someone can order on the app, like you can use Kenji Burger, for instance. They have the best app ever. I literally go on there. We talked about them earlier. I literally go on their app, and it takes me 2 seconds to order something, check out, and then I'm there in 10 minutes, and the food's waiting for me. So that's one thing, and you can get a whole nother crowd that way, and that could help you get through to the locals, is having comfort, fast, easy food, and having that in that marketing ploy that we're kind of talking about, rebranding with a name, and with, I would actually use your slogan more into the COVID aspect, which would be fast, easy, comfort food, something in that nature. I'm not saying that has to be it, but instead of trying to go for healthy and all that stuff, you want to make it so you're a new thing, you're up and coming in a neighborhood, and you can get food real quick and you can get out real fast, or you can sit down and enjoy yourself.
Right.
I think that's a really big play, and I don't think you're going to want to open unless you have a really easy app to do it. There's so many out there for restaurants that are like so simplistic, and really anybody can set them up. They're not hard to set up. Then if you rebrand with that app, and did kind of an opening with this whole, hey, I'm a new thing. People love new things. Opening an old thing is kind of opening an old thing, right? Opening something new is new, and makes everyone want to go. And then once the word spreads how amazing you are, it's like a, I don't know, I think everyone else can play to that one, but it does, it will add a lot to, I think, the startup of your reopening. What's your thoughts?
I actually never thought about an app, but that's a good point. I'm going to look into that for sure. But I was definitely looking into making my food a little bit simpler, where it's easier for them to do grab and go. So let's say everything that I have right now comes with either side salad or rice, right? But maybe I don't do that, and I just have a wrap or burger wrapped in the branded printed paper. So if you want to just come in and pay $8 for a burger, you just come in, order, and grab a burger and go, versus being escorted to a table, place an order, get a water, silverware, and then 10 minutes later, you got a plate of a burger and salad and rice. And now your visit is suddenly 45 minutes versus you only had like 1 hour for lunch break. So you wanted to just like come from Lihue, quickly place an order, grab and go back to the office. But you cannot do that with my model right now at this point.
I would say the way I was envisioning it, you wouldn't actually have to make anything that would be sitting there. It would actually be, if most people are really good at apps, even my mom is like the best. She's visiting me right now, and she orders everything online. Like, you'd be surprised the demographic that actually uses apps to buy stuff. So if you're like,
your mom might be younger than I am.
I don't know. That means I look young. I appreciate that.
Well,
but
yeah,
so I would just say that having someone be able to order online, it would be the same process what you have now. The ticket would come through, you'd make it, and they'd pick it up. It's already paid for, and they go. That way, they don't have to sit around at your restaurant. I think that's a lot of the COVID people have that fear, and that's a lot of the ways that a lot of these other restaurants have made it through, is takeout. If the tourism gets over 5 people, they're going to shut down Kauai again. And for you to shut down restaurants unless you have takeout going. So for you to open, I would want to make sure you have a successful opening. I want to make sure you have a takeout plan. That's what kept Kenji Burger going. That's what kept a lot of restaurants going. It's just pure takeout. The ones that didn't do takeout, they closed. But if you rebranded yourself with that in mind, you got to be able to stay open for a year, right, without closing. So you want to really think of how to do that, because even if they close, you can have one you could be cooking in the kitchen and doing takeout stuff.
Yeah. All right, we're coming kind of to the end of the hour, but I love the idea of making it the accessibility piece and convenience, considering that, so that you have a bit of a safety net regardless of what happens in the next month, 3 months, 6 months. Having that set up is great. We're going to do our last piece, and this is going to be just like 30 seconds per panelist. PJ, this is how we sort of finish out. We're going to have each panelist identify one strength that they see in you, and then one recommendation for first step, like one key area, one simple thing as like a place to start. So Kristal, I'm going to start with you.
I think Addison and Keiko, I'm so sorry, hit it right on the head. You have so much potential, and I'm so excited for you. You could literally, like, with the local following that you can get, your potential is so great. So I would just say, do exactly what you were planning on doing. Like Tyler said, focus on your rebrand and focus on your getting the system set up for when, if anything happens with COVID, just feel like you have a solid base and feel confident going into that. And I think you're right on track and you're going to do fantastic. I have so much faith. Your food is so good. I'm so excited to eat there again.
Thank you, Kristal.
Of course.
So awesome. Keiko, what about you? One recognition of a strength that PJ has and one first step recommendation.
Well, PJ, it sounds like you have a lot of knowledge about vegan food, and just make sure to promote yourself as an expert on vegan food. And that way you can share with the island, and we know it's coming from someone who's got a great passion for it. So good luck.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Keiko. Chenoa, how about you?
Yeah, I just think it's really important for you to, again, identify your target customer, right? And build everything around that person so that you're not kind of shooting in the dark with your marketing strategy, your branding. Everything should be related to that target customer. So who is that person? What is that person like, dislike? Where do you find that person? What do they look like? You know, all the things, right? That's the customer kind of persona exercise. So I really encourage you to dive deep on that, because it really will drive all of your other decision making. Once you have a very clear picture of what that customer, who that customer is, then you'll know exactly how to position everything else. Your branding, your marketing, your tagline, everything kind of feeds into that same equation. So I think that's really the most important thing you could do right now for your business.
Awesome. So awesome. I especially love the vocabulary flexitarian in our chat box. I think that's like my fun little, note. Tyler, how about you when identifying a strength zone for PJ and first step recommendation?
I think one of your strengths is you got great energy and great perspective on what you're doing and where you think you can make it go. Because I think before you even met with us, you had some good things in play. And I think just meeting with us, all of us, we all had little things to add on to what you already had and to kind of improve you in the right direction. My only thing of advice is when you open up, I would open up with your new name, and I would open up with like a whole new way of doing it. I would definitely do the new name, the app, and a little bit of marketing to kind of push, trying to understand your demographic. But I really do think you're going to do well. I've eaten at your restaurant a couple times, and it is absolutely amazing. So thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Tyler. And last but not least, Tessa.
Yeah, I think everyone is pretty clear at identifying your strengths. I think you have, strength in your food, strength in the menu that you're putting together. I've seen the little logo with the surfing dog, and I think that's a really strong visual. And the more that you put that out there, the more people will identify that with your delicious food. As far as opportunity and sort of low-hanging fruit, it's sort of a marketing cliche, but your best customer is your existing customer. And so it sounds like you have a pretty tight circle of people who were regulars at the restaurant or frequented when you were open. And so I would start with them. I would start doing a little market research and, maybe surveying them. What would you like to see in the future? What needs do you have as far as food, out in the time of Corona? And then offer them some kind of promotion to bring someone else in or have someone else try it. So like a share and a discount or something like that. So when you're ready to reopen, that you can start to expand that following and really show people that, plant-based food is delicious, and it doesn't have to be, and it is not sort of an exclusive club that you have to join. Anyone can enjoy delicious plant-based food.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you to our amazing panelists. You guys seriously make this happen. It's incredible. PJ, I just want to give you a chance. Do you have any closing thoughts or anything you just want to share from this experience that you've had? Yeah, notes. I love it. That's my favorite.
Yeah, thank you so much. This was absolutely fantastic. I do have further questions that I want to get into with each and every one of you. So if it's okay, you can say okay for now, and then you just ghost my email if you want to. But if I could somehow reach out to each one of you with specific questions, that would be so awesome. Because, you know, as you can see, like 1 hour just isn't long enough for us to really getting into all the different aspects of the business.
Yes.
But thank you. I feel, I would say 150% times better than I did before, like 1 hour ago. So thank you.
Good. That's incredible. That's one of our goals with this Entrepreneur Hot Seat with Rice Street Business Association, is to really connect our community, support our local entrepreneurs, and give you guys hope and keep you inspired to keep going. And we need your restaurant on this island, PJ. So thank you so much for taking the hot seat, opening up, sharing your challenge, answering the questions. And thank you to all of our panelists that made time to be here and to share your wisdom and your insight and your ideas. And for all of our audience, you guys, I just put the link again. We love feedback. Any feedback you want to offer, click on that link, let us know, and stay tuned. Hopefully we'll be back early 2021 to continue these hot seats. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.